Hey, and welcome everybody. Hope you're doing well today. We're just going to jump right into it. So this is another fun idea that I had. So our commander for today is going to be Niv Mizzet Guildpact. He's one of each color, or Wooburg. Flying, hexproof, or multicolored, and whenever Niv Mizzet Guildpact deals combat damage to a player, it deals X damage to any target. Target player draws X cards, and you gain X life, where X is the number of different color pairs among permanents you control that are exactly two colors. Now, the idea behind this is this will be the commander, and it is the Guild Pact. So I thought what would be fun is if we went through and we just grabbed all of the Guild Mages. All right, so you got Shaper Guild Mage, you got Combined Guild Mage, you got House Guild Mage, like all of these Guild Mages. So it's a Guild Mage deck, more or less. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go through all the stuff that I've got, and then we'll sort it out and space out things that will make more sense and feel better in the run. So we're going to start off with Shaper Guild Mage, 1 blue. You can pay a white to tap, target creature gains first strike until end of turn, or pay a black and target creature gets 1/0 until end of turn. It's a 1/1. Real cheap, real simple, real easy. Now I wanted to bring in Agatha of the Vile Cauldron. Now the reason I brought in her is because activated abilities of creatures cost less depending upon her power. And since a lot of the guild mages have activated abilities, this would be a great one to run in there for her. So they cost less where her power is that, but you can't reduce it to less than 1 mana. You can also do red and a green with 4, and other creatures you control get +1/+1, and trample and haste until end of turn. So now you also got an additional buffer as well, which I think affects her. Yeah, so that's another good one to have. We got the League Guild Mage. It's a red and a blue. For 3 and a blue, you can tap to draw a card, or X and a red to copy target instant or sorcery spell you control with mana value X. Choose new targets. It's a 2/2. It's not bad. Boros Guild Mage. You can do either 2 red, 2 white, or 1 of each. 1 and a red to give a target creature haste till end of turn, or 1 and a white to give it first strike until end of turn. Good stuff. Nice, real simple and easy. Senate Guild Mage, white and a blue. You can pay white to tap to gain 2 life, or pay a blue to tap, draw a card, and discard a card. Real cheap, real easy engine you got going on there. Orzhov Guild Mage. It's 2 and a white. Target player gains 1 life, or 2 and a black. Each player loses 1 life. Combined Guild Mage, green and a blue. Pay 1 and a green to tap, and this turn each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional counter on it, +1/+1 counter, or 1 and a blue to move a 1/1 counter from a creature to another creature. Got a lot of these, so we're gonna have to spread them out a bit. Azorius Guild Mage, either 2 blue, 2 white, or 1 of each. Pay 2 and a white to tap a target creature, or pay 2 and a blue to counter target activated ability. Mana abilities can't be targeted. So this would be great. We get this one reduced, and we just pop out a blue to counter any activated ability of other things, which is going to be a nice little thing to shut down a bunch of people. Dusk Mantle Guild Mage, blue and a black. Pay 1, a blue and a black, and then whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere this turn, that player loses 1 life. Or 2 and a blue and a black, target player mills 2 cards. Now, the great thing about that is I've been seeing a lot of graveyard play, especially with people, sacking stuff, milling stuff. So stuff getting put into there, you pop that off when they're doing a big cycle, like, oh, mill 10 cards, and then just bam, make them lose a bunch of life at the same time. Good stuff to throw in there for that. House Guild Mage, blue and a black. 1 and a blue to target tap, and target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step, so a stun is good. And then 2 and a black to tap and surveil 2, which you look at the top 2 cards of your library, put any number into your graveyard, or on top of your library in any order. Zamek Guild Mage, it's green and a blue. You do green and a blue. This turn, each creature you control enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it. Or green and a blue to remove a counter from a creature control to draw a card. Another good card draw engine. Always like that, always need that. Selesnya Guild Mage. 2 greens, 2 whites, or 1 of each, and you pay 3 and a green to create a 1/1 green Saproling creature token, or 3 and a white for creatures to get +1/+1 until end of turn. Vizkopa Guildmage, it's white and a black. You pay 1, white and a black, and target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. Or the same mana cost for whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. So that's another good one. You can combine that with a bunch of other stuff in other decks, specifically around lifelink and whatnot, but don't know how much effect we'll be getting out of that, but we'll see. Conclave Guildmage, a green and a white. You can pay a green and give a tap to give creatures you control trample until end of turn, or 5 and a green to tap and create a 2/2 green and white elf knight with vigilance. Might want to do that one because the trample's nice, but we're not going to be getting too big on creatures. But when we get that reduced, being able to create a 2/2 for one's good. Swarm Guildmage, that's a black and a green. You can pay 4 and a black to tap, and creatures you control get 1/0 and menace until end of turn, or 1 and a green to tap for 2 life. New Prov Guildmage, white and a blue. You do white and a blue to give target creature flying until end of turn, or 3 and a white and a blue to detain target non-land permanent opponent controls. So until your next turn, that permanent can't block, attack, and its abilities can't be activated. So that's a good way to shut things down as well. Korozda Guildmage. It's a black and a green. Got 1 for black and a green to target creature gains +1/+1 and intimidate. Intimidate means it can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or creatures that share a color with it. And then 2 for black and a green to sacrifice a non-token creature to create X 1/1 Saproling tokens, where X is that creature's toughness. Sunhome Guildmage. It's a red and a white. You can pay 1 red and white for creatures to get +1 and +0 until end of turn, or 2 a red and a white to create a 1/1 red and white soldier creature token with haste. So those token generator ones will be good, especially if we can get the mana reduction down. Red and white for Legion Guildmage. You can pay 5 and a red to tap for it to deal 3 damage to each opponent, or 2 and a white to tap another target creature. That one's all right. Vidu-Ghazi Guildmage, a green and a white. Pay 4 green and white to create a 3/3 green centaur creature token, or 2 a green and a white to populate. That could be good when we get our tokens up and running. Golgari Guildmage, 2 black, 2 green, or 1 of each. To do 4 and a black to sacrifice a creature to return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Some recursion there, and 4 and a green to put a 1/1 counter on target creature. All right. Clan Guildmage, red and a green. You can pay 1 in red to tap for target creature can't block this turn, or 2 and a green to have a target land you control become a 4/4 elemental creature with haste. It's still a land. Rick's Mahdi Guildmage, a black and a red, and then black and red for target creatures, target blocking creatures to get -1 until end of turn, or black and red to target player who lost life this turn loses 1 life. That first one useful. The second one might be able to ping off somebody who has 1 hit point left. And I know I got a couple more guild mages. Let's do all those first. Get those out of the way. Cult Guild Mage. Black and a red. And then you can pay 3 and a black to tap, and target player discards a card, activate only a sorcery, or red and tap for it to deal 1 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Simic Guildmage, 2 blue, 2 green, or 1 of each. You can pay 1 and a green to move a +1/+1 counter from target creature to another target creature with the same controller. So that one, instead of ours, we can mess with an opponent's one. And same deal, except +1 and a green, +1 and a blue to attach a target aura from another permanent to another permanent. So if they've got, you know, some other buffs, you can be like, no, I want to kill that one. I'm going to move that protection away. Nivix Guildmage. We got a blue and a red. For 1 blue and a red to draw a card, discard a card. 2 blue and a red to copy target instant or sorcery spell you control and choose new targets for it. Could be good. Syndicate Guildmage, a white and a black. Pay 1 and a white to tap it. To tap a target creature with power 4 or greater. Or 4 and a black to tap it. For Syndicate Guildmage, deals 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Dimir Guildmage, that's either 2 blue, 2 black, or 1 of each. Pay 3 and a blue for target player draws a card only as a sorcery, or 3 and a black for target player to discard only as a sorcery. We'll set that aside. Gruul Guildmage, 2 red, 2 green, or either. For 3 and a red to sacrifice a land, Gruul Guildmage deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker, or 3 and a green for target creature to get +2/+2 until end of turn. Now, I don't see using this land sacrifice one because that would be a specific deck that has a lot of land cycling and recursion and landfall and stuff. So probably not going to be useful on that end. And then giving a target creature +2/+2 until end of turn is not bad, but I think we got some better choices here. So I think we're going to set aside that one. Rakdos Guildmage, 2 black, 2 red, or 1 of each. 3 and a black to discard a card, and target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Or 3 and a red for create a 2/1 red goblin creature with haste, exile it at the beginning of next end step. So token creation with a -2 is not bad. Izzet Guildmage, 2 blue, 2 red, or 1 of each. 1 second. All right. 2 and a blue to copy target instant spell you control with mana value 2 or less. Choose new targets. We'll hang on to that because this is instant and the other one's sorcery. So they're the same. We'll hang on to that because we'll see what kind of spells we got from going from there. And Skarg Guildmage, a red and a green. Red and green to give creatures trample till end of turn, or 1 a red and a green target land becomes a 4/4 elemental creature token. Okay. Seems pretty stable. We got a lot here. It's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 31 guild mages. I'm sure there's probably more out there, but these are just the ones that I have. Let's move on here. Those are creatures. We'll see what kind of spells and enchantments and stuff that we can bring in here to determine which of these boys and girls we're going to be keeping. All right. Okay, so let's start off with a Bear Umbra. It is 2 and 2 green to enchant a creature whenever this enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has, whenever this creature attacks, untap all lands you control. Plus Totem Armor. It means if a creature would be destroyed, remove the damage and destroy this aura instead. This is going to be a good one to have on because we want to untap our lands so we can do our abilities multiple times. So I think we're going to hang on to that one for now. Let's set it up this way. Wilderness Reclamation. 3 and a green enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. That's another good one, so we're going to hang on to that one there. Seedborn Muse, 3 and 2 green to untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. That is going to be fantastic for all of these, getting the mana and for the ones that tap. So we're definitely going to hang on to you. Dryad of the Elysian Grove, 2 and a green for an enchantment creature. Play an additional land on each of your turns, and lands you control are every basic land type in addition to the other types. That's going to be good for 2 reasons. One, we get land out quicker, which we're going to need because some of these abilities are expensive. And then having all lands that control every basic land type is going to cover for the mana requirement as well. So that's going to be one that we want to hang on to. Propaganda, 2 and a blue enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. That's going to be great. We want that. That'll give us some protection because our creatures are going to be weak. And with them being weak, we don't want them to die, block, so we want to kind of prevent them from attacking us. Let's see, Rude Awakening. 4 and a green. It's a sorcery. Choose one. Untap all lands you control, or until end of turn, lands you control become 2/2 creatures that are still lands. You can pay the Entwine cost for 2 and a green. Choose both if you pay the Entwine cost. So I don't know if that's on top of it. Choose both if you pay the Entwine cost. Because usually these things, unless it says kicker, kickers are into an addition. Entwine sounds like an alternate cost. I'll have to look that up. But for right now, we already got a couple things that untap lands, so that's a maybe. We'll set that aside here. All right. Sword of Feast and Famine. It's an artifact equipment for 3. And then equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from black and green. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card and you untap all lands you control. That is a great one to have. We'll bring that in there because it provides some protection as well. Sword of Truth and Justice. It's a 3 cost. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from white and blue. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, put a +1 counter on a creature you control, then proliferate. That will be good for protection and buffing them. So we'll hang on to that one as well. Alrighty. Kindred Discovery. 3 and 2 blue. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. We will be probably choosing Wizard, most likely. A couple of these are Shamans, but I think most are Wizards. So that one's not bad, but whenever a creature you control of the chosen type enters, draw a card. We like card draw. We'll put that in there for now. Reflections of Lichtjara enters the battlefield. Choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. A copy of a permanent spell becomes a token. So getting a couple, none of these are legendary as far as I can tell, so we can make tokens of a bunch of them. Not too bad. That could work out. And they're cheap, so you can get multiples out. That kind of works. Oh yeah, I like that. Angelic Destiny, 2 and 2 white. It's an enchantment aura, enchanted creature. It gets +4/+4, flying, first strike, and is an angel in addition to its other types. And then when it dies, return this to your hand. So that's good of buffing up one of these if we need to empower somebody for a little bit. So we'll hang on to you. Instill Energy. 1 green, enchantment aura. Enchanted creature can attack as though it had haste. But here's the fun part. You can pay 0 to untap enchanted creature. Activate this only during your turn and only once each turn. So we got a couple tap things here. Popping that on that, being able to do it at least a secondary time. Not terrible. We'll hang on to that one there. You're a 1, so we'll put you over there as well. 2, 1. Demonic Tutor, 1 and a black. Search your library for a card. Put that card in your hand, then shuffle. That's good. Get us some of these combo pieces that we need. The Reality Chip, 1 and a blue. Artifact equipment. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. As long as this Reality Chip is attached to a creature, you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Reconfigure 2 and a blue in order to equip it to a creature. That's a great one to have. Save us some time. Drum Bellower, 2 and a white. Flying, untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. That could be great. Tap to do an ability, untap it. I'm liking that. Let's see. Zerda, the Dawn Waker. 1 and 2 red, 2 white, or 1 of each. The companion thing, we're not going to worry about the companion. Abilities you activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less to activate. This can't reduce it below 1. And then pay 1 and tap for target creature can't block this turn. That's a great one to have. Reduce the cost of a bunch of these as well. Now, some of the things you want to bring in here are going to be things because we have so many weak low-level things, you usually want to have one big, strong guy. So I brought in Jin Gitaxias Core Agor. 8 and 2 blue. It's a flash. At the beginning of your end step, draw 7 cards. Each opponent's hand is reduced by 7. So this is a great way to shut them down, to boost us up. It's a big boy. Usually having one big boy to hang out in there is not a bad idea. And then I snagged these Planeswalkers for a couple reasons here. So we got Tezzeret the Seeker, which is 3 and 2 blue. His +1, untap up to 2 target artifacts. His -X allows you to search for an artifact card with mana value X or less, put it onto battlefield and shuffle. Or -5, artifacts you control become artifact creatures with base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. We're going to have a couple swords, a couple of other things, and then some mana rocks. So the -5 making creatures, if that's an emergency thing that we need to throw out there to just have some people to try and swing out, it's not bad. If we get to a point where we need to go look for I got 1 or 2 artifacts that we can go search for that will help set up our game. And then untapping 2 artifacts, some mana rocks, get extra mana to cast these guys again. It's good. So I think that's a good one. We'll hang on to you. Planeswalkers we'll put a little separate. And then Tezzeret Artifice Master, 3 and 2 blue. His +1 is to create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. His 0 is to draw a card, and then if you have 3 or more artifacts, you draw 2 cards. And then his -9 is to get an emblem. At the beginning of your end step, search your library for a permanent card, put it onto battlefield, then shuffle your library. That's obviously great. Card draw, wonderful. And then 1/1 flyers. The flyers will help for the evasion since we don't have reach or flyers as well. So I think both of those are good to have in this because they make up for some of the stuff that we're missing. All right. What's next? Let me take a quick drink. I'm a little parched. Okay. Enlightened Tutor. 1 white. It's an instant. Search your library for an artifact or enchantment card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top. We want that. Go look for some of our pieces. Soul Ring, 1 colorless, tap for 2. That's great. Lightning Bolt. 1 red. Lightning Bolt does 3 damage to any target. That one's all right. Some basic, cheap removal. Don't know if we're going to hang on to that, so we'll put that into a maybe because it's not exactly necessary. Vandal Blast, 1 red. Destroy target artifact you don't control, or Overlord for 4 and a red. And Overload will destroy each artifact you don't control rather than target. So that's a good one. 3 steps ahead, 1 blue. You can pay an additional 1 and a blue to counter a target spell, an additional 3 to create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature, and an additional 2 to draw 2 cards and discard a card. So that gives you some options if you need some stuff, whatever's going on. We like options. Options are great. Okay, so here's one of the things that we want with things that will get searched out to make our deck work. Training Grounds, 1 blue. It's an enchantment. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. Can't reduce it to less than 1. So that's fantastic. We want that. All right. Sting, the Glinting Dagger for 2 mana. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. At the beginning of each combat, untap equipped creature. Equipped creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or orc. Equip 2. That's going to be great for a lot of our tapped things in here to get to be able to do that multiple times. So we're going to hang on to that one as well. Growth Spiral, green and a blue, instant. Draw a card. Put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's good ramp. We'll hang on to that. Sterling Grove, green and a white. Other enchantments you control have Shroud, meaning they cannot be the target of spells or abilities. Pay 1 to sacrifice it and search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it. Shuffle, put that on top. That's a good alternative. We'll hang on to you. Power Balance, 2 red. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost if the 2 spells have the same mana value. This is a great one because mana cost 2 and 3 are the most common, and we have a crap ton of 2s. So getting this out there and getting a chance to cast a bunch of free stuff is not a bad idea. Roiling Vortex, 1 and a red enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Roiling Vortex deals 1 damage to them. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast that spell, Roiling Vortex deals 5 damage to that player. Pay a red, your opponents can't gain life this turn. Now, this is going to be great for preventing them from gaining life if they especially have life gain decks. Everybody getting pinged 1, not terrible, it's enough. And unless this is in combination with that, we won't necessarily need to worry about it. And this, unfortunately, is also a May. So even if we did have both of them, we'd be fine. So we'll hang on to that for now. Mage Right Stone, 2 mana. Pay 1 to untap target creature that has an activated ability with tap in its cost. So that allows us to untap stuff that we need to do for abilities. Agatha's Soul Cauldron, 2 mana. Artifact, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate abilities of creatures you control. This is going to work great along with the Elysian to make all lands capable of all colors. So if we don't have the right stuff, we can get it working. Creatures you control with a +1/+1 counter on them have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Exile target card from a graveyard. Tap and exile a card from a graveyard. When a creature card is exiled this way, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So gives us mana for anything. Creatures with +1 can cast anything that we exile. So this isn't just ours that we need to do, but also opponents. So that's going to be a fun one to work with. Got a lot of 2 manas. Which is good. We want cheap stuff. All right, let's see. Fabricate. 2 and a blue. Sorcery. Search your library for an artifact card. Reveal it, put it into hand, then shuffle. That's great for looking for our pieces. Spirit of Resistance. 2 and a white. Enchantment. As long as you control a permanent of each color, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. This is great with propaganda. We want to keep people from feeling like they need to attack us, or if they can, to make it pointless. So that's a great one to have in there. And we'll have a bunch of color options, so that's not going to be an issue. Chromatic Lantern for 3. It's an artifact. Lands you control have add 1 mana of any color, and this can tap to add 1 mana of any color. It's a good thing to get in there. Black Market Connections. 2 and a black. Enchantment. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, choose 1 or more. Create a treasure token. Lose a life. Draw a card. Lose 2 life. Create a 3/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with Changeling. You lose 3 life. That one's not bad. I mean, 1 life for a treasure for mana is not too bad at all. Drawing a card for 2 life, that's not bad. And then depending upon if we get the Kindred Discovery and Reflections out here, the Shapeling's going to be every creature type, so that would work with that as well, getting an extra 1 of it. Doubling up on the tokens. Yeah, there's some options with that. I already got a lot of stuff going on here. We're going to have to start getting rid of stuff here pretty soon. Heartstone for 3 mana. Activated abilities of creatures cost 1 less to activate. Can't be reduced less than 1. Good one to get in there. Battle Mage's Bracers. 2 and a red. Artifact equipment. Equipped creature has haste. Whenever an ability of equipped creature is activated, if it's not a mana ability, you may pay 1. If you do, copy that ability. Choose new targets for the copy. Equip 2. So that's going to be a great one to have as well. Let's slide things over here. We got plenty of stuff to go through. Oh, sweet Moses. It's not enough room. Manascape Refractor for 3. Artifact. Manascape Refractor enters the battlefield tapped. Manascape Refractor has all activated abilities of all lands on the battlefield. You may spend a mana as though it were mana of any color to pay the activation costs of Manascape Refractor's abilities. So this could be a good one, not only for lands, like let's say, what am I thinking? Like if we get another land that's got, what's a good activated ability? Maze of Ith. So if someone's got a Maze of Ith, they tap to remove it. We can now make this a Maze of Ith. That's pretty good. We'll hang on to that, see what that do. Oh, right, we're trying to... Rhythm of the Wild. One in red and a green. Creature spells you control can't be countered, which I doubt they're going to worry about countering these guys too much. And non-token creatures you control have Riot. They enter the battlefield of your choice with +1/+1 counter or haste. That's what we'd like. The +1 counter or haste. Speed things up or buff them up. It's pretty good. This one's going to be fun. Assimilation Aegis. 1 white and a blue. It's an artifact equipment. So when Assimilation Aegis enters, exile up to 1 target creature until Assimilation Aegis leaves the battlefield. Whenever Assimilation Aegis becomes attached to a creature, for as long as Assimilation Aegis remains attached to it, that creature becomes a copy of a creature exiled with Assimilation Aegis. Equips for 2. That'll be a fun one. In case they got a real powerful creature, we can exile it and then make one of ours a copy of it. Bitterhorn Nissa's Animus for 3. It's a legendary artifact equipment, living weapon, so that means it'll come in with a 0/0 germ. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and whenever equipped creature attacks, search your library for a basic land card, put in the battlefield, tap, then shuffle, equip for 3. We want that in case we're low on lands and we need to get some stuff looking up here. Alrighty. Collected Company. 3 and a green. It's an instant. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. Put up to 2 creature cards with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. That one's not bad. That gets us out 2 free cards for about the same price. Akroma's Will. 3 and a white. It's an instant. Choose 1 if you control a commander. As you cast the spell, you may choose both. Creatures you control gain flying, vigilance, and double strike until end of turn. Or creatures you control gain lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colors until end of turn. That's a great win or protection con. Humility. 2 and 2 whites. Enchantment. All creatures you control... sorry, not all creatures. All creatures lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 1/1. That one's if there's a one-sided board wipe and you need to shut them down for you to rebuild. That one's an iffy. We may remove that one. Relic of Sauron. 4. Artifact. Tap it to add 2 mana in any combination of blue, black, and or red. Or pay 3 mana, tap it, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Alright, good mana rock to hang on to. No Mercy. 2 colorless and 2 black for an enchantment that whenever a creature deals damage to you, destroy it. That's going to be another good thing to help keep them away from us. Keeping everybody away. That's what we want to do. That's how we survive. Just don't let them attack us. All right, we got a room. What do we got? Dazzling Theater. 3 colorless and a white. Creature spells you cast have Convoke. That one's not going to be great because most of our creatures don't have any colorless. Prop Room. 2 and a white. Untap each creature you control during each other player's untap step. That one's going to be great for the activated ones. So the Prop Room is probably what we want to have that for. So we'll put you here for now. Let's see. Turnabout. 2 and 2 blue instant. Choose artifact, creature, or land. Tap all untapped permanents of the chosen type target player controls, or untap all tapped permanents of that type that player controls. So that could be a good way to shut some people down. Or reset your lands for yourself. Timeless Lotus, 5 mana. Timeless Lotus enters the battlefield tapped, and you can tap it to add 1 of each color. Great one to have. We'll need that. Let's see. This one is just goofy. Confusion in the Ranks. 3 and 2 red enchantment. Whenever an artifact, creature, or an enchantment enters, its controller chooses target permanent another player controls that shares a card type with it. Exchange control of those 2 permanents. This one could be good for us, because if we play these creatures, we trade them with another creature, a better, bigger creature, and we also give them a color that they don't have, so they can't use their abilities. That could be a lot of fun for us. It is chaotic, so you do got to keep track of what you're doing, but that's just a fun maybe to have in there for goofing off. Let's see. Mana Geyser. 3 and 2 red. Add red for each tapped land your opponents control. That's a big mana buff. I don't want that. Let's see. Coveted Jewel, 6 mana. Whenever Coveted Jewel enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards. Tap to add 3 mana of one color. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls attacks you and aren't blocked, that player draws 3 cards and gains control of Coveted Jewel. Untap it. That one would be great with these ones because it'll encourage people to attack, but also at the same time, you have your don't attack me stuff. You have to pay for it. That's a maybe because we don't have great blockers, unfortunately. So that one's a maybe. I mean, the mana's great, but that's a maybe for sure. Progenitor Mimic. 4, a green and a blue. You may have Progenitor Mimic enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it has. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this creature isn't a token, create a token that's a copy of this creature. So we can get a double of a big thing, either one of ours or something else that's not legendary. So that could be a good one to throw in there to help make up the difference. I'd see this would probably be close to, say, our other Jintaxis if we wanted big creatures of something else. Mana Reflection, 4 and 2 green, enchantment. If you tap a permanent for mana, it produces twice as much of that mana instead. That's a great one because we're going to want to cast and activate these things and untap everything a bunch. So that will be good. Primeval Bounty, 5 and a green, enchantment. Whenever you cast a creature spell, that'll be easy. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put 3 +1 counters on target creature control. That will help make some of these guys stronger, because we'll definitely have a lot of those. And then whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 3 life. That one probably won't come up as much, but still helpful. Akroma's Memorial, 7 mana. Creatures you control have flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from black and red. That's just going to be a great thing to have, especially if you have a bunch of these guys out there. And then Sandworm Convergence. 6 and 2 green, enchantment. Creatures with flying can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 green worm creature token. So we got a couple things in here to help give us some options of bigger stuff to offset our lower stuff. Now we have the tenuous, what's the word? Endeavor of going through everything and see what's going to balance and work with each other. So let's start over here. We'll go for the things that we definitely want to keep. We definitely want Training Grounds. We definitely want Soul Ring. We definitely want Enlightened Tutor. I think we should keep Vandal Blast and 3 Steps Ahead as well, because those are cheap and gives us some options. And Still Energy, as nice as it would be to untap something, that's an extra card that's not necessary, especially if we have a bunch of board untaps. So we'll set that off to the side there. All right, what do we got here? I think Agatha's Soul Cauldron would be a good one, because that will give us exiling cards from a graveyard. So if somebody has graveyard recursion, we can stop that. That's a good one. Mage Wright's Stone. So untapping a creature with a tap in its cost. Having the individual one's not bad, but if we have a bunch of these other ones that will untap them anyway, we'll set this up here in the maybe and we'll come back to it. What do we want for sure? We for sure want Demonic Tutor and the Reality Chip. So searching and looking at the top is great. Sting is definitely also a good one to have. Let's see. We could almost have most of these, but we also want to be careful about what we're doing here. I think the power balance one to get us out some cards wouldn't be terrible. And depending upon how many enchantments we have, we'll put Sterling Grove as a maybe. All right, so then card draw and extra land, that's good. And then damage and not gaining life, that's situational. We'll get rid of Roiling Vortex for now. Set that off to the side. But this Growth Spiral I think will be good. Drawing a card and putting extra land out there could help us move up. So we're at that already. We're going to shoot for probably about, I don't know, 40 spells of instant sorceries, artifacts, and enchantments, and then we'll go for about 20 or so creatures. Right now we got 30, so we'll be getting rid of 10 that doesn't fit with what we got here. All right, things we definitely want. We definitely want Chromatic Lantern, Spirit of Resistance, and Propaganda. All right. We'll take Zerida. That's going to be a creature, so we'll set you. Reduce the cost. I think having both the swords would be good as well. Feast and Famine Truth, because the protection and the buffing and the untapping would be great. We're going to set you up here since you're a creature. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Extra land and all land types. It's beautiful. It's an enchantment, so if we end up pulling in Sterling Grove, gets Shroud, that's good too. Yeah, we'll hang on to you for now as well. All right. Already at 5, 11, 16. We're already halfway through, and I got half. Oh, this is always the worst part. But or the most time-consuming part, I guess, is deciding what to keep and what to get rid of. Now this just reduces it by 1. We've got that which reduce it by 2, and Agatha which could reduce it by multiples. And that's a 3 for 3. We'll put the Hearthstone, Heartstone as a maybe. So then we got Black Market Connections, extra mana, card draw for life. We don't really have any life gain. So that would put us down a bit, especially if we full send everything all the time. Fabricate we want because that will help us get what we're looking for. And then we'll put, I guess we'll put Black Market and Drum Bellower in maybes for now. So we'll come back to those. Okay. We still have more 3s to go through. Untap each creature you control. I think tap all creatures you control. So we've got Prop Room and Drum Bellower, which are the same, pretty much. So we'll need to decide between the two. If we're going to be keeping more creatures, we probably want this one. More of these creatures, less of those creatures, so we'll hang on to that. A slight buff with Land Search, I think that's great. Copying the ability of an equipped thing could really be good. I mean, Mana Refractor is, again, situational, but I have been running into a lot of people with a lot of cool land abilities. We'll put Manascape Refractor in the maybes. Now we got Rhythm of the Wild, which buffing things is good, or hasting things if we need to get something out done quicker. And creatures not being countered is also great, but they're less likely to not counter any of our stuff, except for our commander and Jin over here. So that's a maybe. And the Assimilation Aegis, that could be good. It removes something from their field, and we get a buff ourselves with that. So I think that one will be fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, 21 already. Halfway there. Okay, let's see what we can do. We could probably get rid of Turnabout, since we already have a bunch of other untapping stuff. No Mercy, that'll be a good one to hang on to, because they'll destroy anything they want to swing at us. Sauron, that's a mana rock. Humility, that's a maybe. Don't know if we'll need that. Chroma's Will, for sure. Collected Company. Now, the problem that we're having here with Collected Company is we look at the top 6 cards, put 2 creatures with mana value 3 or less, which is going to be 98% of our creatures. The only ones that would really benefit from that in terms of mana value are going to be Zirda and Dryad. So us getting those in that is not very likely, because our creatures just being 2 mana, it's 4, so it's the same anyway. I mean, I'm not feeling that one, so we'll put that one out. Angelic Destiny, Wilderness Reclamation, and Bear Umbra. So this is a buff with evasion. I think that's great. Untapping all lands to activate abilities and stuff. It's good. And then a buff with protection and untapping when it attacks, I think is also good. That's 21, 27 there. We're looking good. We might be able to fix some of these things in here. All right, and let's do this in reverse because we got mana popping out that way. Okay. Confusion in the ranks, chaos, that's a maybe. Timeless Lotus for sure. We want the mana. Creating a copy of the spell, that could be really great, actually, because it widens our board, increases our ability of having fun creatures and abilities. So that one could be good. And then entering the battlefield or attacking draws a card. We want card draw, so we'll hang on to those 2 for now. All right, so that'll put us up to 30. Seedborn Muse, we definitely want you. Mana Geyser, that's mana. Mana's great. Doubling our mana production, that's great. Chroma's Will and Sandworm Convergence are big cards. This works as a double of not letting creatures with flying attack us, so we can avoid the evasion aspect out of us, and then giving us big 5/5s to attack with, I think is good. So I think those are good to have. Now it comes down to Primeval Bounty or Progenitor Mimic. Let's see. So with 32, 4, 34, 36, we could potentially keep all of those if we go 38 to keep the Planeswalkers as well. Ooh, excuse me. So I think we'll do that. We'll have these 38 as for sures. Okay. So that handles everything but creatures. Now we need to go over the creatures and weed out the ones that won't work for us. All right, so we're definitely going to keep these 4. Zirda, Dryad, Seedborn, and Jin-Gitaxias. Now we need to figure out the Guildmages, the main aspect of the deck. The whole point. What do we do? What do we do? All right, so that's 38. That's 42, 43 cards total. So that's going to leave us with about 20 or so cards from here out of the 30. So that's not bad. We should be able to have a pretty easy time picking up which ones are going to be good. I think we should keep Shaper Guildmage because it's 1 mana and it's first strike and a slight buff. That's pretty great. I think hanging on to that one's going to be good. Target player gaining life and each player losing a life. I mean, we can make ourselves gain 1 life multiple times, or make each player lose a life multiple times. That could be good should somebody else be low on life. So we'll hang on to that for now. Let's see, Senate Guildmage. Gain 2 life and draw a card. Yeah, that's a definite. That's a no-brainer. Boros, gaining haste and first strike. Gaining haste and first strike. Gaining the haste would actually be the good. We want to hang on to the haste, so we'll hang on to the haste. Let's see, League Guildmage. Draw a card and copy target instant story use control with mana value X. Let's take a quick look. Mana value X. So we got some of these cheaper ones. Pay that in red to copy target instant or sorcery control, and you may choose new targets for the copy. So we could, well, not this one, because this one's put on the top. We wouldn't want to copy that and do that twice. We could copy Vandal Blast if we don't have enough to overload it. Or copying 3 steps ahead. Well, I don't know if that'd work because that's Spree's an additional cost on top of that. So I don't think any of the ones will work with that. The Growth Spiral will work because that gives us 2 card draws and 2 extra lands. Demonic Tutor would work. All right, so that's 2 cards that will benefit from it. Fabricate will work, so that's 3. I mean, Achroma's will, but if we have a commander out, we get both of them anyway. So that's a potential. So that's 3.5, I'd say. We don't have a lot of instants and sorceries. We could copy Mana Geyser for a bunch of extra mana if we needed. That could work. Yeah, that's it. We don't have enough. I don't think we have enough instants and sorceries to really benefit from that one. Even though the 1 or 2 times we would, it would be cool. We're going to have to set this one aside, unfortunately. All right. Agatha, we want to hang on to you for sure. You're going to be reducing the cost of everybody. Zamek Guildmage. This turn, each creature you control enters the battlefield with additional 1/1 counter on it, and remove a counter to draw a card. That's great. Buff and card draw. House Guildmage. 1 turn stun and surveil 2. I think that's good options. Dusk Mantle. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere this turn, that player loses 1 life. And having them mill 2. I think that one's good, especially if we catch those guys that are graveyard heavy, so they want to mill and they want to destroy and all of those things. I think that would be great, especially if someone pops out a board wipe and there's a bunch of stuff on there. You can be like, bam, and that would affect everybody. So I think that'd be a good one to hang on to, because there are a lot of situations with graveyard play and a lot of situations with board wipes. So I think that's fine. Azorius Guildmage, tapping a creature, that one's okay, but the counter target activated ability could come in clutch, so we're going to hang on to you. All right, where are we at? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, we're getting there. Combine Guildmage. Each creature enters with additional 1 counter on it, and we can move counters around. If we combine that one with that one, having both of them proc off at a time where we're creating a couple tokens for ourselves, or the Lijara thing going on here, that could work. We only technically would need 1 of those, because redundancy is not bad, but then moving the counters around could also be really beneficial if we want to protect something, or if we want to say getting Agatha's ability up there to make everything cheaper. So we'll hang on to you for now. Gaining flying and making something not be able to attack or block or activated abilities. I think that's great. Gives us evasion and can shut somebody else down for a turn. Or more, because if we get that reduction and we have the mana, we can target multiple things. That could be really good. Swarm. Pay 5 to get 1/0 and Menace. I mean, Menace isn't bad, but we're not in the film of swinging out a bunch necessarily. I mean, this is the hard thing about this particular one, right? Because, yeah, it's the Guildmage. That's the theme. We want to have the Guildmage cards in there. But we don't really have a lot of win cons except for maybe making them lose some life and maybe having some protection on our creatures to swing out and do a little bit of damage here and there. I think what we're going to want to do is, with this one, is a wall, right? We want to put up defenses. We want to make them not attack us. And then we just want to have small minor abilities to annoy everybody, to not make us a huge threat. I think that's probably the idea. So it's a little bit of a pillow fort. That might be what we're looking at here. So Swarm Guildmage, we're going to have to set aside. All right, let's see. Conclave. Green for trample or 6 for a 2/2 token. Knight with vigilance. I mean, getting the knight out, that's all right. That 6 mana thing's not super great unless we have the reductions, which then it'd be fantastic. And having it there in case we don't have any other things in our hand, and we just have open mana. That couldn't hurt. So we'll put that as a maybe, because that's an expensive creature one. Vizkopa. Target creature gains lifelink, and whenever you gain life, each opponent loses that much life. That could be good. So if we have one of our bigger ones, like let's say, Jin or Niv Mizzet, we give it lifelink, we hit, we gain life, they lose life. I think that's not a bad combo, especially throw in some of our protection and buffed stuff down here. 4 to create a green Saproline. That's a little bit better than 6, but for a 1/1 and a 2/2 with vigilance is close. We'll put that as a maybe as well. Let's see. Drawing a card and discarding card, or copy target instant sorcery spell you control. Again, we don't have a lot of instants and sorceries to really utilize that, so we might have to let that one go. Let's see. Simic Guildmage. I think we want the Simic, and I think if we swap out the Simic with one of the other ones that moves counters, enters, remove to draw. Where is it? Which one is it? Did I set it aside? Or did I just miss it? Or is it over here in the maybes? It's over in the maybes. Okay. So I think with that maybe over there, that's fine. But I think hanging on to this one for us would be good because attach target aura attached to a permanent to another permanent with the same controller. So an opponent, if they got an aura on a creature that we don't want them to have that aura on, we can pay to move it to something else to get rid of that really buff creature. I think that would be a good one to have. So we'll hang on to you. So that's going to put us at 5, 10, 11. 4 and 5. That's 16 creatures. All right, so we're looking at a handful more. And we still got a couple to go through. All right. Let's see. Cult Guildmage, target player discards a card, and Cult Guildmage deals 1 damage to target opponent. This would work better in something that pings and we can like double or triple damage. Discarding a card would work better if they only have like 1 or 2 cards and they got to make a decision, but that's not going to happen too often. We'll have to let that one go. The Rix Maddie I think we'll hang on to because target blocking creature gets -1/-1, and target player who lost life loses life. That one's not as much, but should we swing at something and they block, we can minus it a couple of times to make it killable. So I think we'll hang on to that one for now. These are maybes, so we'll set the maybes that way. Okay. So that puts us at 15, 17. All right. Target creature can't block this turn, and target land becomes a 4/4 elemental with haste. Not blocking's fine. That one would be a maybe. All right. Let's see. Golgari. Sacrifice a creature to return a creature from your graveyard to your hand, or put a +1 counter on target creature. Those are both 5 mana stuff. Those are both expensive. And we would need either the token creations or one of these that we're not using to get it. And then we would get back one of these, which would be good because these are going to be very beneficial for us. You know what? We'll go ahead and pop that in there. I think that would be a good one to have because we do want some recursion. Alrighty, let's see. Vidu-Ghazi. We got 6 mana for a 3/3 Centaur, or 4 mana to populate. The populate could be good, especially if we're getting some of the other creature tokens out there. But we'd have to include all of the creature tokens in that one for that one to be particularly beneficial. So that one's a maybe, depending upon what we bring in with those other guys. Legion Guildmage. 6 to deal 3 damage to each opponent, or 3 to tap another target creature. I mean, this one would be good with 3 damage to each creature, because if we equipped, let's say, the Battle Mage's Bracers, we can copy it and we can deal 6 to each opponent. That could be a good way to start whittling people down in that combo. I think that would be fine to pop in there. So that leaves 15, 19. Let's see. 4 mana for a 1/1 red-white soldier creature token with haste, and a +1/0 buff. 1/0 is not buff, but 4 for a 1/1. That's also a maybe with all that there. Let's see. Target creature gets +1/+1 and intimidate until end of turn, meaning it can't be blocked by artifacts or creatures that share a color with it. That one could be good. Or we can sacrifice a non-token creature to create X 1/1 green sapperling creature tokens, where X is the sacrificed creature's toughness. That one could work well if we combined it with Confusion in the ranks, stealing their cards, paying to sacrifice it, creating a bunch, so should they find a way to get it back. That's not terrible. We're not going to do Skarg, because that gives creatures trample, and making a land a 4/4 it doesn't really work well in this one. Again, is it? Unfortunately, we don't have enough instants and sorceries. I think Rakdos would be good, because discarding a card and giving something -2/2 is great. And then create a 2/1 red goblin creature token with haste. We do that one, and then we can sack it, so we have a permanent 1/1 rather than just until the end of the next end step. That could be a possible thing. We would need to get something, though, because if we're going to sacrifice and pay and create those for a token generated, we'd want something that says if something like Cutthroat, so if a creature of ours dies, we ping everybody and we gain life. That also would need to happen as well. Let's see. Tap target creature with power 4 or greater, or deal 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. That's a 5 for that. That one's not super great. And tapping a creature with power 4 or greater is not terrible either, but Then Dimir Guildmage. Target player draws a card. Target player discards a card. Probably want that one for the card draw. Card draw is important. I think we're going to step aside with the Syndicate. And then that will leave us with these two. So let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20. So these are all our maybe creatures here. So if we, let's see, that's 32. No, 38. 38 plus 20, that's 58. So we pop 2 more in there, that'll put us at 60. And then if we do, say, another 5 cards, either from any of our maybes here, maybe creatures or maybe spells we set aside, you can get to maybe about 65, 66, 67, and then have about 33 lands. I think would be good. Might want a little more lands, since we don't have as many. I need an I need an arcane signet. How do I not have an arcane signet? I'm gonna have to find an arcane signet. We'll worry about putting arcane signet in here in a bit. But let's go for that. Let's not worry about that right now. So let's go shooting for 2 creatures to put us at an even 60 cards, and we'll go from there. So now we need to decide what we're going to do. So we got, let's see. All right. Creature token, land, creature token. Let's see, that's a 3/3. That's a 1/1. Scratch my ear. That's a 2/2. So that would put us at 4 over. This one, it's the creatures get +1 when they enter and move +1 counters around. This is gaining life and losing life. I think we'll set that one aside. So then that leaves this here. We can have a creature get -2/-2. We can pump it multiple times if we get that reduced to just black. And then giving something Intimidate to be able to not have it blocked could be really good. Sacrificing these to get those would be fine. Or say if we sacrificed a 3/3 to get 3 1/1s if we wanted to go more wide. Especially if we tag that on with something like this, where they each get +1s when they enter. So now we turn 3 1/1s into 3 2/2s. It's not bad combos that we can get going on here. But I've got that one. I have another one that we're already doing. Yeah, Zamek. I mean, having 2 wouldn't be bad. This one's a tap, and then this one's just an activate. I mean, having both of them work in synergy like that would be really good. Especially if we equip the battle bracers on it to copy that ability, we can double it up already as is. I'm kind of tempted to just put all of these in. We'll put the clan Guildmage off because we're not doing land stuff. So if we did that, let's see. If we did that, those 2 would put us at 60. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could get everything that we were shooting for right there. And that would put us at 5, 10, 15, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 27 creatures. It's not bad. 38 artifacts, enchantments, sorceries, and instants, and planeswalkers. So that leaves us at 65 with 35 for lands. Well, 66 because we need to throw a arcane signet in there. We'll say this is our arcane signet for now. So it's not looking terrible. So now we need to decide. I usually go at least 30 lands with 1, 2, 3, 4 mana rocks to kind of make up the difference for it. And that's on average. Depending upon the deck, I'll either put a lot more. And I usually don't go below 30. So I average probably around 32. Minimum 30, maximum 36, I think was my highest one. Because I don't play too many land-oriented decks. I eventually will. So we're at 66. That means we got 34 lands. I think that's fine. Let's take one more review of our maybes here. Don't think we'll do Rude Awakening. That one's just not screaming to me. Humility could be a good shutdown for somebody that's got a crap ton of creatures, especially ability-based creatures. Drum Bellower, we got a couple untaps already, and it's not a creature. It is a creature, so I don't know about that one. I do want Black Market because that will create a treasure token that will make up for some of the mana as well. On top with untapping 2 target artifacts with Tezzeret to get Soul Ring, untap, Soul Ring, that type of thing. So that one's not terrible. We can hang on to that one. Lightning Bolt. We're not very heavy instant and sorcery decks, so that one will go. Manascape Refractor. We'll put that as a maybe as well because having some land abilities from other people would be great. And I think some from my own. I'll have to double check what lands I put in here or what lands we might look at adding, but we'll look at those as maybes right now. Heartstone, yeah, the 1 reduction's not as good as some of the more, so I think we'll set that one out as well. Coveted Jewel, that will make up for some mana. It'll make us a target, and then it'll also benefit somebody else as well. That's always the downside that I've had with this particular one, so I think we'll set that one out as a no, just because I don't want to give them a bunch of mana and a bunch of card draw, unless we combine something like Treasure Nabber, so when they tapped it, we can steal it back to us instead of it going to somebody else. Magerite Stone, that's a cheap one to untap something, but we got, again, a bunch of other things that untaps permanents as well. We don't want to overstimulate too much on that. Then we're just left with Sterling Grove and Rhythm of the Wild. So I think these are good maybes here, and we're at 66. Let's see how many enchantments we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14, I think that's good. 14's good. Giving them Shroud is good, so it'll protect some of our things like No Mercy and Propaganda. We want to keep those from being destroyed. So that one's not good. And then if they end up getting destroyed, we can sacrifice this to go look for another enchantment, putting that on top. So I think that's a good thing to pop in there. So we'll bring in Sterling Grove. We have enough enchantments to justify it. So that'll put us at 67. Black Markets will make up for the mana, although we lose life, and we do get card draw. Yeah, we'll put that one as that. I think we can probably live without Manascape Refractor. I do like the idea of being able to do the activated abilities of all lands on the battlefield. Because if somebody gets a Maze of Ith, or if somebody gets a Nykthos, or something that will produce a good amount of mana, or have a cool ability that, Trample or First Strike, or that could be a good thing for us to have as well. Because there are a lot of those cards out there. People do put them in there. I don't necessarily want to say put all 3 of these in there, and that will leave us at 30 mana. I'm trying to avoid putting in the minimum amount of mana all the time. That's a really hard struggle and thing to fight. But yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? We'll do it. We'll make it happen. We'll put those in there. All right. So that puts us at 70. Okay. Let's go with that for now. And I'll probably tweak it again later after testing it out and see how it goes. But I think that's fine for now. My decks are usually okay running 30 to 33 lands. It's not too bad. I know people say put the mid 30s, so 34 to 38 is usually what they recommend. But I've done really well, at least on the card draw for all of those types of things. We'll go get an Arcane Signet there. And let's take a quick look at our lands as well. So we got 3 mountains, 3 islands, 3 forests, 3 swamps, and 3 plains. Now that I'm thinking about it, having a Kodama's Reach or a Cultivate wouldn't be bad either. So think about looking at that if you can. I don't have any, so I can't put them in my decks. I have to go out and get them. But if you have them, throw them in there somewhere. So getting lands would be a great thing to have. All right, so that's 15 basics. All right. Got a Maze of Ith. Got a Command Tower. Got a Reliquary Tower. We got an Arcane Lighthouse. So Maze of Ith, untap target attacking creature, prevent all damage that we've dealt to it and dealt by that creature. And then Arcane Lighthouse, tap for a colorless or pay 1 to tap, and until end of turn, creatures your opponents control lose Hexproof and Shroud and can't have Hexproof or Shroud. So if we want to help somebody else with targeting something, that could be beneficial. 3 Tree City. Choose a creature type, add a colorless, or pay 2 to choose a color, and then add an amount of mana of that color equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type. So that could be good. We pick wizards, and we have 7 wizards out. We pay 2, and we get 7 manas of a 1 color. Still pretty good. We may want to look at removing this one. This is Boseiju, who shelters all. Enters tapped, and then you pay 2 life to add a colorless. And if that mana is spent on an instant or sorcery spell, it can't be countered. We don't have a lot, so we'll set that one aside. Let's see. Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. Tap to colorless or 2 colorless, only to cast colorless spells. I don't think we have enough colorless spells in there to justify that one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That could work. 11's not bad. Yeah, we'll hang on to that for now. It's still a colorless, which isn't terrible. Temple of the False God, which is 2 colorless, only with 5 or more lands. Gemstone Cavern, that can be an early play game. If it is in your opening hand and you're not the starting player, you may begin the game with this on the battlefield with a luck counter on it. If you do, exile a card from your hand. It adds a colorless, but if it has a luck counter on it, it adds 1 mana of any color instead. It's not terrible. Mystic Monastery enters tapped, and it taps for a blue, red, or white. And then we got, let's see, Guildmages Forum. Tap for a colorless, pay 1, add 1 mana of any color. If that mana is spent on a multicolored creature, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. So that works great because everything we've got is multicolored. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 15 plus 9 is 24, 25. Right? Did I do that? 3, 3, 3. Yeah. So 25. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 30. Okay. And then these are the not pay, but it enters tapped, and you return a land to your hand to add 2 mana. So those are some bumps as well. And these do help out with some of the lower mana costs as well, because you're getting 2 for the price of 1. It just slows you down a little bit. Not terrible, but... and yeah, again, remember, this is all casual. This is just taking a fun idea and trying to make something with it. So we have a Guildmages deck with like 22 Guildmages and 5 other non-Guildmages, but it works. That's what we're looking at. So Niv Mizzet with the multicolored creatures works great. However, I mean, we'll draw that many cards, we'll gain that much life, and we'll deal damage to any target. So that could be a great combo with all of that crap that we got going on. We just need to make sure that Niv Mizzet deals damage to a player. So with the flying and hexproof from multicolored, that should help protect us from a decent amount of stuff. Yeah, but there you go. This was a little bit more chaotic and hectic than my previous one, where I wasn't sure what I was doing, just grabbed a bunch of stuff that might work for it. And then we did a lot of back and forth. So I hope that this gives you an idea on taking just a fun, kooky idea and running with it. I mean, there are for sure more optimal ways of building these decks. You know, you cultivate for land searches and maybe some more removals, some more board wipe, stuff like that. Like that's fine again. But again, this is just casual. This is just to have fun. You're setting up a little place for you to have guild mages and see if they can do anything. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hope you had a good time, and we'll catch you later.